The girl deliberately dressed plainly as her family urged her to meet her arranged fiancé. But after waiting all day, the man never showed up. Just as she was about to leave, she accidentally bumped into a maintenance worker and was instantly captivated by his looks. Soon after, she and the maintenance worker began to grow close, unaware that the man before her was actually her arranged fiancé in disguise. She had feared her fiancé, a powerful CEO, would be a womanizer, so she disguised herself as a country girl to test him. Meanwhile, the CEO was equally wary that she might be a superficial socialite, so he disguised himself as a maintenance worker to test her. Unexpectedly, despite their fake identities, they fell in love. The girl told the maintenance worker she was unemployed, while he claimed he worked fixing pipes. As they talked, a waiter accidentally kicked over the man's toolbox, splashing water all over the girl's face. The man rushed forward to help her wipe it off, only to realize that the freckles on her face were makeup. As he gently cleaned her face, her true beauty emerged, and the girl, seeing the tenderness in his eyes, felt her heart race. They immediately went to the registry office and got married. When her grandfather found out, he suffered a heart attack. The girl hurried to get his medicine, but the old man refused to take it unless she divorced and went to work at her fiancé's company instead. For her grandfather's sake, she agreed. The next morning, she went to the CEO's company to start work. But before she even entered, employees were already gossiping that the CEO's fiancé would be arriving soon. None of them knew her name, only that her surname was Shin. Coincidentally, her vain and materialistic cousin also came to work there that day. When the shallow staff compared their appearances, they immediately assumed the cousin, who was dressed more fashionably, was the CEO's fiancé. The cousin, realizing the mistake, didn't bother to correct them. Since she too was from the Shin family, she shamelessly accepted the false identity and began enjoying the attention. Little did she know that the CEO had just arrived downstairs. On her first day, the real fiancé was bullied by jealous co-workers. By accident, she stumbled straight into her husband's arms, still unaware that her maintenance worker was actually the CEO. The CEO, afraid of revealing his true identity, lied that he was there for a job interview. The girl smiled and told him not to stress. If he didn't get the job, she would take care of him. The CEO's assistant was baffled by the situation, but the CEO quietly told him to buy a small apartment near the company and a cheap car, as he planned to move in with his wife. No sooner had the assistant left than the vain cousin walked in. Hearing her surname Shin, the CEO assumed she was his arranged fiancée, the one he had already refused to marry. Seeing her arrogance, he immediately lost interest, ordered the assistant to find a way to fire her, and left. He then drove to the company gate in what he believed was his cheapest car to pick up his wife. The girl, upon seeing the luxury brand logo, was shocked and thought he had spent all his savings just to marry her. Touched, she shyly told him she didn't have much luggage because her family was poor, trying not to make him feel inferior. The CEO, moved by her thoughtfulness, looked at her with affection. When they arrived at the new apartment, the girl, seeing how he had borrowed money to buy a car and rent a place, handed him her salary card, insisting he use it to repay the debt. The CEO, receiving money from a woman for the first time, was deeply touched and gave the card back to her. When she asked if his interview went well, he lied and said he'd been hired in the HR department. The girl was thrilled, saying they could now eat lunch together in the company cafeteria. The CEO smiled and agreed, but of course, he couldn't risk being seen there. The next day, he urgently issued an internal notice ordering all meals to be delivered directly to each department to avoid the cafeteria meeting. While the girl was relieved, she focused back on her work. However, her colleagues warned her not to waste her efforts. The two available slots for the jewelry design competition had already been decided, one for the CEO's fiancé and the other for the company's most senior designer. They told her she had no chance. What they didn't know was that the girl's true identity was the mysterious, long-hidden designer Aver. She hadn't planned to reveal herself, but after hearing the gossip, she decided to compete under her real name. She immediately messaged the CEO's assistant, saying she would attend the jewelry design competition. That evening, she returned home and teasingly told her husband that the company's boss was petty and unfair. The CEO, who was drinking water, nearly choked on the spot.